3 days later, I sat in the admissions office at Boston City Nursing School, finalizing my re-enrollment for the fall semester. "You've been away from the program for quite some time, Miss Sullivan," the advisor said, reviewing my file. "But your previous academic record is strong. You'll need to take a placement exam to determine if any refresher courses are necessary." "I understand," I replied, feeling a surge of excitement. I've already started reviewing my old textbooks. As I walked across campus afterward, I felt a sense of belonging that had been missing for years. This was where I was meant to be, pursuing my own dreams instead of living in service to someone else's needs. My real estate business would need adjusting to accommodate my class schedule, but I had already started planning. I'd focus on fewer clients, concentrate on higher value properties, and hire a part-time assistant for administrative tasks. The income would be reduced, but without my mother's expenses, I could manage. When I returned home, a formal-looking envelope awaited me in the mail. Inside was a letter from the insurance company addressed to my mother, mistakenly sent to my address. It detailed the changes to her coverage and the significant increase in premiums, now that I was no longer the guarantor. I should have felt guilty. Instead, I felt vindicated. My phone rang. "Jenna. Have you seen what's happening in the family group chat?" she asked, without preamble. "I left all those chats," I admitted. "What's going on?" "Your mom is telling everyone you've had some kind of mental breakdown. She's saying you've been under stress from your failing business, and that's why you're acting out." I could hear the air quotes in Jenna's voice. "She's completely twisting everything around," I sighed, unsurprised. Classic deflection. "That's not all," Jenna continued. "She didn't realize I was still in the chat, and she's convinced Aunt Moran to let her move in temporarily until she sorts out her medical situation." "Of course she has," I said, shaking my head. "Mom's always been good at finding someone to rescue her." After hanging up, I opened my laptop and found myself staring at the video file Jenna had sent, the live stream that had changed everything. I hadn't watched it since that first devastating viewing in my hotel room. My finger hovered over the play button. There was power in this recording, power to show everyone exactly who my mother was behind closed doors, to vindicate myself in the face of her lies. But did I need that vindication? The family members willing to believe her narrative without even asking me for my side of the story, were they really worth convincing? I closed the laptop without playing the video. I had the evidence if I needed it, but right now, I had more important things to focus on. My nursing application was complete, I'd scheduled my placement exam, and for the first time in years, I was planning for my future, not managing someone else's crisis. The insurance letter sat on my counter, a reminder of the changes I'd set in motion. After a moment's consideration, I addressed a new envelope to my mother's actual residence, placed the letter inside, and added a short note. "This was sent to my address by mistake. I suggest you read it carefully. No signature, no emotion, just facts." As I slipped the envelope into the mailbox, I felt another piece of my burden lift away. The consequences of her actions were now hers to bear, not mine. 2 weeks passed in relative calm. I threw myself into preparations for nursing school, studying during every spare moment between real estate showings and client meetings. The placement exam was scheduled for Friday, and I felt a growing confidence with each practice test. Then came the ambush. I was just finishing a showing of a 3-bedroom colonial in Brookline when I spotted them in my rearview mirror, my mother and Aunt Moran, waiting beside my mother's car in the parking lot. My first instinct was to drive away, but they had clearly seen me. Running would only postpone the inevitable. Now comment update to tag you on part 3.